on November 30th, 2000 to allow the development of a recreational restaurant office complex, 4 single-family dwellings, parking area, and other related recreational facilities and associated improvements and infrastructure. The subject property is located at the south end of Anaeho'omalu Bay and encompasses the Lava Lava Beach Club, Waikoloa Beach Resort, Anaeho'omalu, South Kohala, Hawaii, TMK 367, parcel 15. Item number 3, applicant, Waikoloa BC LLC, rezone 17-00225. Application for a change of zone from a resort hotel 2 acres V-2A to a resort hotel 7,500 square feet V-7.5 zoning district for a 7.849 acre portion of a 10-acre parcel of land. The subject property is located at the south end of Anaeho'omalu Bay and encompasses the Lava Lava Beach Club, Waikoloa Beach Resort, Anaeho'omalu, South Kohala, Hawaii. Application for a special management area SMA use permit for a 2-lot subdivision and development of a resort complex to include 44 rentable transient units, a caretaker's residence, a fitness and recreational center, a reception/guest service area, and related accessory uses on the 7.849 acre portion of a 10-acre parcel of land. The subject property is located at the south end of Anaeho'omalu Bay and encompasses the Lava Lava Beach Club, Waikoloa Beach Resort, Anaeho'omalu, South Kohala, Hawaii, TMK 369, fifth portion of parcel 15. Before we get into the discussion, I will be recusing myself because of a conflict of interest, or should I say a perceived conflict of interest. I'm a business associate of a lessee at the Lava Lava Beach Club. Our business that we run together is separate, not associated with the Lava Lava Beach Club. It's completely separate and disassociated. And pursuant to the rules and codes of the conflict of interest, technically I don't have a conflict of interest, but as far as a perceived public, as far as a perceived conflict of interest, I think there could be one, and therefore I will be recusing myself from discussion and participating in any votes. I will facilitate this meeting as chair and continue with that responsibility, but as far as discussions or participating in motion and voting, I will be recusing myself.
Yes, thank you, Chair Unger. Good morning, everyone. So the subject property is located in the South Kohala district in Waikoloa Beach Resort. You can see the property circled in red towards the bottom of the slide here. And just for orientation, you have Queen Ka'ahumano Highway running in a north-south direction in the middle of the slide. You have Waikoloa Road coming up Mauka from there in an east-west direction. Waikoloa Village is shown in the yellow color, and Waikoloa Beach Resort is shown by the sea. The applicant's proposed development is to subdivide the property, which is about 10 acres in size currently, into 2 lots. One of the lots would be 2.151 acres in size, and the other would be 7.849 acres in size. The new approximately 2-acre lot would contain the existing Lava Lava Beach Club restaurant and related accessory uses such as parking. On the new approximately 7-acre lot, the applicant proposes to develop a small resort complex consisting of a maximum of 44 rentable transient units that will be housed in various structures. All of the structures will not exceed 30 feet in height. So those rental unit structures will consist of 12 single-story bungalows, 16 two-story duplexes, and 16 units housed also in two-story structures. All of those units will be approximately 750 square feet in size and contain wet bars. The applicant's also proposing to include in the project a single-story caretaker's cottage, and this structure has actually already been built. It's the little building that was built by Richard Smart of Parker Ranch back in the 1970s. It's located near the large pond, and I'll be showing you that structure in a minute. So they would like to include that in this proposed development. They also propose a new single-story restaurant cafe, approximately 1,000 square feet in size, a 3,000 square foot fitness and recreational center located near the pool that will also be 1 story in height, a single-story reception guest services area, approximately 3,500 square feet in size, and 55 parking stalls and 2 loading zones located in the northeast portion of the property. Also a swimming pool located between the historic trails on the southeastern portion of the property, as well as landscaping and related accessory uses. There are 4 existing single-family dwellings on the property located near the sandy beach. Those will either be relocated further Malca or removed. And so those 4 units could possibly be incorporated into the total 44 unit count. The project will likely be developed in phases, with the first phase consisting of some of the bungalows, reception office area, and the corresponding parking and landscaping. The second and final phase would include the remaining components, and the applicant intends to begin developing the project in late 2019 with completion of all phases within 8 years. Total construction costs for the project is estimated at $30 million. So in order to accomplish this project, the applicant needs 3 entitlements, 2 of which the Planning Commission would approve or deny, and then 1 of which the County Council would approve or deny. So the first permit that's needed is an amendment to special permit number 412 in order to remove the approximately 7-acre portion of the new project from the approximately 10-acre property. So SMA permit number 412 was issued in 2000, and it covered the entire 10-acre property. It permitted a restaurant, some club spa facilities, the 4 single-family residential units. And from that permit, obviously the Lava Lava Beach Club restaurant has been constructed, and the 4 dwelling units near the sandy beach. So the other entitlement that would be needed is a change of zone from V2A, which is Resort Hotel 2-acre, to V7.5, which would be Resort Hotel 7,500 square feet. This would be for the 7.849 acre portion of the property. And the current resort hotel zoning, which is the V2A, requires 2 acres of land per dwelling or rentable unit. Therefore, the current zoning allows a maximum density of 5 dwelling units. The applicant's current request is to change the density, the zoning density, to 7,500 square feet per dwelling unit. This would allow up to 45 dwelling or rentable units on the 7 acres. And the last entitlement would be a new special management area use permit for the 7-acre portion of the property, and that would cover the proposed resort development and the subdivision of the 10-acre property into 2 lots. This is the applicant's proposed site plan, and I'm just going to go over a few things on the plan, so bear with me. This road here is called Ku'ali'i Place. It comes off of the Waikoloa Beach Road near the Queens Marketplace and kind of curves around and ends in a cul-de-sac here. Some of the features in the area are public access. There's a 78 stall public beach parking lot just located east of the subject property, and then the folks who want to walk to the beach would walk along this concrete pathway to the cul-de-sac, and then there's a walkway down to the beach in this area here. There's also a comfort station with restrooms and showers generally in this location here. And so you can see the property is this general area here. You can see the two lots, the proposed two lots. One would be here. This is the 2-acre property. And then the area outlined in red is the remaining 7.8-acre property. So the request would be, just to repeat it again, is to pull the 7-acre property out of SMA permit 412 and have it just apply to this 2-acre property. And then the applicant seeks a rezone of the area outlined in red, and the 44-unit resort development would be within the area outlined in red. So the existing Lava Lava Beach driveway is located here off of Ku'ali'i Place. The restaurant is located here. There's some parking nearby. And then for the proposed 44-unit development, you have a 55-stall parking lot here, an admin and cafe building reception area in this location. There would not be internal roadways. These are walking paths, concrete walking paths. You have a pool in this location and an event garden as well as a little gym facility here. And then the 44 units are spread out in this location and along the southern boundary of the property. Some of the historic and cultural resources on the property are a large ancholine pond located here. There's a smaller ancholine pond just north of that in this location. And then there's an ephemeral or a temporary pond located in this location here near the parking lot. There are 3 historic trails that are owned by the state of Hawaii, and those come onto the property in this location, and this location here. And these 3 trails meet up off of the property further south, and they eventually connect to the Alaloa Trail further Mauka. So as part of the proposal, the applicant is, there's also a petroglyph field here and in this location here. And as part of the proposal, the applicant will be providing buffers around a lot of the cultural and archaeological features, as well as the ability for people traveling on the trail to walk along the concrete path here down to the bay. So the county zoning for the property is Resort Hotel 2 acres, which is shown in the light purple color. Properties immediately to the north, east, and south are zoned open, and nearby properties further east and northeast are zoned resort, which are shown in the bright pink color, and village commercial, which is shown in the light pink color. The general plan designation for the property is resort node on the Mauka portion, and then open which coincides with the shoreline. Properties to the south are in the conservation designation, and the Waikoloa Beach Resort to the north and east is in a resort node as well. The state land use district for the property is urban, which is shown in the light pink. As you can see, most of the Waikoloa Beach Resort is in the urban designation, with the exception of the Ku'u'ali and Kahapapa ponds, which are located just to the north here. The land to the south is in the conservation district, and further east is in the agricultural district. This is a kind of panned out view of the area and the property. You can see Anaeho'omalu Bay, Waikoloa Beach Resort. This area here is the Queen Shops, the King Shops, and then Ku'u'ali Place curves around to the subject property here. And then this is a closer up view of the property. Again, you have that public beach parking lot just to the east of the property. You can see the large anchoring pond, the existing structure that was built by Parker Ranch in the 70s, Lava Lava Beach Club, and the 4 existing dwellings near the Sandy Beach area. And this is a view of the Mauka side of the property. So the eastern boundary of the property is just off of the slide. And you can see the Ankyline Pond, the large one, is generally in this location here under the palm trees. This is a graded area that will generally be the location of the future parking lot should the permits be approved. This is the existing view of the Lava Beach Club driveway from Ku'u'ali Place. Again, you can see the Ankyline Pond generally here. The roof of Lava Lava is this red roof in the background. And this is a view of the shoreline. This is standing at the north end of the property looking south. So you can see Lava Lava Beach Club restaurant is located here. And then this is somewhat of a panorama shot, but it's not quite connected. So this tree here, the roots are these roots here. So you can see a full pan of the bay and the shoreline. And a view of the Lava Lava Beach Club restaurant, as well as one of the single-family dwellings located here. A view of the Sandy Beach area and the 4 dwellings. 1, 2, and hard to see, they're behind the Keawe trees, but 3 and 4. And lastly, a view of the shoreline near the south end of the property. So this picture here was standing kind of in the middle of the Sandy Beach area looking south. So the south end of the property is generally in this location here. And then this view is standing at the south end of the property looking north back towards Lava Lava Beach Club, which is shown here with the red roof. So the planning director is still formulating a recommendation and suggests that the commission conduct a site visit of the property before making a decision. The department has consulted with various agencies such as Fish and Wildlife, State Historic Preservation Division, National Park Service, Na'alahele, about how to minimize impacts to cultural, historic, and natural resources. And many of these agency recommendations could be included as conditions if the commission were to approve these permits. However, there are a few unresolved issues that need additional consideration. So we're just kind of going to bring that out to you and hopefully have a discussion about how some of these issues can be resolved. One of the main issues is zoning density. There's several resources on the property, and so the question is, based on the amount of development the applicant is proposing, is there enough developable area on the property to accommodate both the proposed development and protect the natural, cultural, and historic resources on the property. And so that's the first question. Can the property accommodate a 44-unit resort development given the resources on the property and the need to provide adequate on-site parking or alternative off-site parking so that the public beach parking lot is not used for commercial purposes? The existing Lava Lava Beach Club restaurant does not have adequate on-site parking. They do have the amount required by the zoning code, so they do meet zoning code requirements, but it still isn't adequate. And I'm sure you've seen from a lot of the public testimony that that's one of the biggest concerns we're hearing is there's just not enough on-site parking. Customers have been using the public beach parking lot or the northeast portion of the property as overflow parking. So the applicant will be providing 55 new stalls as part of the 44-unit resort development. But what that will create is that will cause Lava Lava to not be able to use that parking area that they're using now as overflow parking. Another question is, will the proposed location of the pool and event garden between two historic trails have a negative effect on the cultural use of these trails? As I mentioned before, the property has cultural, historic, natural, recreational, and scenic resources that require preservation buffers ranging in size from 10 feet for some historic sites up to 100 feet for construction activities around green sea turtles. And just to show you this area that question was just referring to. So these are the 3 historic trails here, 1, 2, and 3. And so the applicant's proposing a pool, a little fitness center, and an event garden between these 2 historic trails. The State Historic Preservation Division did recommend or did concur with the applicant's preservation plan, which recommended 15-foot buffers around the trails measured from the edge of the trail. And I just want to go over a few of those preservation buffers that were recommended in the applicant's preservation plan. So again, you have the historic trails here, 1, 2, 3. Those will have a 15-foot permanent preservation buffer. It should be noted that one of the trails, this trail here, was recently desecrated, and the applicant wrote to the planning department informing them of that, and they intend to restore the trail back to its former condition. Other resources on the property that will have preservation buffers are a cave complex here. We'll have a 10-foot buffer. The ephemeral pond, the preservation plan recommended a 10-foot buffer. The anchialine pond, the smaller anchialine pond, the 2 petroglyph areas have, I believe, a 10-foot buffer as well. And then you'll notice these green lines here. These are smaller trails. This is a network of smaller trails that connect to the larger main trails. And the preservation plan did not recommend preservation of those trails. However, some of the segments of those smaller trails will be preserved within the 15-foot buffers of the primary trails. So another question the director would like to hear the commission's concerns is related to the threatened green sea turtle. The turtle is not classified as endangered yet, it's threatened, but it has been known to be located in that area of the property and to the south of the subject property. So will an increase in the amount of people on the property and beach area adversely affect threatened green sea turtles that bask and may nest in the area? The department has consulted with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Staff went out on a site visit with Fish and Wildlife Service staff last week, and they provided a memo with recommendations in your background report, and you should also have gotten a supplemental email with further recommendations this morning. So some of those recommendations that Fish and Wildlife is making is that mechanical and construction activities cease within 100 feet of a green sea turtle until the turtle voluntarily leaves the area. Also avoid holding large gatherings and minimizing lights during turtle nesting season, which is from May to December. And placing signage informing the public of turtles and how to behave around turtles. And also have an on-staff monitor to place temporary boundary fencing should a turtle come up to bask on the beach. Fish and Wildlife did not indicate the distance that temporary boundary fencing should be placed from a turtle. We're assuming it's not the full 100 feet that's required for the construction activities, but we are consulting with them still to find out that distance that boundary fencing should be placed. The last two concerns are related to the shoreline setback and public access. So the survey that the applicant provided showed that the shoreline has moved about 30 to 80 feet since 1968. The applicant is proposing to implement a 60-foot setback for any structures from the certified shoreline, but the question is whether that is enough to protect those new structures and from future shoreline erosion and ensure safe public access. And I'm just going to go back and show you on the map real quick. So taking those measurements, the 80-foot movement of the shoreline was in this area. You can kind of see the current certified shoreline. It's a solid light black line here. And so the 80-foot inland movement was in this area. You can see a pretty big gap here. The 30-foot movement was in this general area here and then further to the south. And lastly, is the current 10-foot wide public access easement located Mauka of the certified shoreline adequate, or should the public be able to enjoy the entire sandy beach area, similar to the sandy beaches to the north within the Waikoloa Beach Resort? And I'm just going to back up again to that photo and show generally where that. So the applicant under SMA permit 412 agreed to a floating easement, a 10-foot wide floating public access easement. And basically what that means is anytime the shoreline gets recertified and the shoreline moves in, the access easement will move Mauka as well. So it'll be located just Mauka of the certified shoreline. And so currently the certified shoreline is, again, this black line. So the current public access easement is located along that line, and 10 feet Mauka would be the corridor for current public access. So that concludes the presentation from staff. I do just want to bring to your attention the handouts that we have for you. So you should have your background report. We also have provided public testimony in, it looks like, 3 groups. So you should have one batch that is from, let's see, January 11th through January 13th, And that one, the first email, if you're looking at them, is from Barbara Funk. And the next batch is dated from the 13th through the 16th, and that first one on top is from Cassandra Crandall. And the third batch is from the 16th to the 17th, and that email on the top is from Kevin Reese McPherson. You should also have a fourth batch, from the 17th to the 18th. The name on that first one is Rodrigo Romo. And just for commission's information and public's information, the planning department provided all public testimony to the commission up until 9 o'clock last night. So if anything came in after that, the commission does not have it. And then you should have an email from Eldridge Naboa of Fish and Wildlife. We also handed out this morning a letter from William Lazenby, Julia Alos, Jojo Tanimoto, Barbara Schaefer, and Olivia Cockcroft. I'm also going to hand out 3 more that you can pass around. We only have 1 copy. And that's from Mike and Sue Niss, Victoria Serrao, and Marcy Davis. And the applicant provided this binder, and they will go into more detail on the contents of that in a few minutes. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission has.
Thank you, commissioners. Are there any questions? Ms. Carr?
Yes, I have a couple. Can you explain why the trails appear to end on the map?
On which end? This end here?
Yeah, those trails that you pointed out appear to end and not go any further. Is that typical?
I don't know the answer to that question. I know the applicant's archaeologist is here, and he could probably provide information about why those trails end where they do.
Okay. And do we know, is 2014 the last time that this shoreline was certified?
It was actually 2015, yeah. And let me explain why that was. So typically, certified shoreline surveys are only valid for 1 year. When the planning department receives an application, we honor that certified shoreline survey, even if it takes more than a year for the application to get through the approval, the entitlement process. So what happened with this particular application was in 2015, the applicant submitted an application similar to what you have before you. And then the State Historic Preservation Division determined that their archaeological inventory survey was somewhat outdated. It didn't meet the criteria according to SHPD rules for an AIS. So the applicant agreed to redo that survey, and that process took about 2 years. During that process, the applicant created a revised AIS. They created a new preservation plan. They revised their site concept several times to what you have before you now. And just for a little further background, when SMA 412 was issued in 2000, the trails were known at that time, those 3 primary trails, and the state Na'alahele informed the applicant and department that those were trails that were owned in fee by the state under the Highways Act. But at that time, SHPD didn't determine them as historic trails for whatever reason. So what happened was There were no preservation requirements for those trails at that time. Since then, since the new AIS came out, new preservation plan, SHPD has changed that determination, and they are seen as historic and culturally significant, which is why now the applicant changed their site concept to accommodate those preservation buffers.
You said one of the trails was desecrated. I wondered what was done to that trail to desecrate it.
I think it was bulldozed. We can have the applicant provide more information on
It wasn't
that.
the general public then? It was the owner of the land developer?
The applicant doesn't know who bulldozed the trail. And so if you look at your, let's see, exhibit, give me just a minute here. Okay, exhibit number 11 of your background report. There is a letter from the applicant explaining how it was discovered that the trail was desecrated and what actions they have taken to remedy the destruction. And I'm sure that the applicant will provide more information on that as well.